Did you hear that the ghost of Herman Cain tweeted out a conspiracy theory about the coronavirus, I think yesterday?
Wait, the virus is a hoax thing?
Yeah, actually, tweeted out an article, I believe a link to an article or some kind of, or retweet, I think it's a retweet. And it's this whole conspiracy. It's called the 6% conspiracy. If you want to look it up, but
dude,
basically 6% or the 9,000 conspiracy. Basically, it's a theory that only 9,000 people have actually died from the coronavirus in the U.S. And they're overcounting by massively because they're counting people who die with all these other causes of death included along with the virus, which is just ridiculous because obviously the virus is causing these other things, whether it be heart attack or pneumonia or whatever. So it's this ridiculous theory, and now Trump is retweeting it from someone else, of course, not the ghost of Herman Cain.
Well, yeah,
I think it's
knowledge
just
Herman Cain in any way. Fucking just.
I think it's hilarious though that the one of the most famous people that have died from the virus and very much ally of Donald Trump is now still from the dead. I'm sure it's just probably somebody who worked for him decided to just whatever. But
what kind of sick fuck is that? That's the real who the fuck?
Or somebody maybe hacked into it.
Yeah, who has access to Herman Cain's Twitter right now? Because that person should be burnt at the fucking stake. That's so fucking weird and scary and
yeah.
Ugh. Yeah. It might be a fucking it might be a bot.
Well, either way, this whole 6% theory thing is going to be the way that Trump justifies the handling of the virus when, because remember early on he was like, I think an acceptable amount of deaths would be somewhere between 100 and 200,000. And we're at 180,000 or something now. It's not, we're going to surpass that so quickly. And I think this is the way that he's going to say, well, it's not that bad. It's actually, they're inflating the numbers, the deep state, the CDC and all this, so it's, but it's just another example.
And they're using a guy that died of the now Q has his Twitter, and so fucking dude. I mean, it's fucking. This is fucking bleak.
gotta ask, is it pronounced plasma or plasma?
No, it's plasma. You have to sort of gather up phlegm and like you know like you know
Plasma.
plasma. It's you gotta like explode the first part.
How many letters do you think are in that spelling?
PLOUGH SMA. Plasma.
So apparently the guy who like okayed the rushing of the signing off on that treatment or whatever came out afterwards and said that
I can't. I'm gonna lose my license.
he was like I was forced to do this by Trump basically, or pressured to, or whatever.
Yeah, before the fucking medical board strips me of all my credentials, and I, because they're kind of independent, oh shit, I didn't really think about that,
Yeah,
the orange man can't pull me out of the fire with this one. He doesn't have any control over that shit.
Yeah, he can pardon people, but he can't reinstate people's medical licenses or whatever.
Yeah, although, man, that guy could just go become a chiropractor or something.
I'm delighted to be here to discuss the remarkable progress being made in the development of plasma. Plasma, so important. Plasma, so important. Plasma, so important. Plasma, so important. Plasma. Donate plasma, so important. The plasma therapies. These therapies transfuse plasma. Plasma is one of the more plasma, and it's an effort to accelerate, and it's an effort to accelerate plasma, to really accelerate the plasma. Donate plasma. Donate plasma. And it's an effort to accelerate, to really accelerate plasma. The plasma is one of the more plasma.
Gotta talk about the RNC. Let's just starting at the end and moving backwards, honestly.
All right, I'm not gonna lie. I, in total, watched 30 seconds of it.
Okay, well, let me give you a quick summary.
How about this? I'll do because I only watched that 30 seconds was 5 seconds of Trump Jr.'s girlfriend, and then 25 seconds of Trump Jr., and then that was it. Right? It was like I can't do it. And because it was like I saw the clips of this lady yelling, and then there would be like, whatever, people were tweeting like howler monkeys and like, there's like the screaming that like breaks glass and shit, right? Like that was a good day. That was a day of solid memes, whatever day that was. And then, like I had just seen stills of Junior, and it was like, yo, why is he so fucking? Why is he like glistening? Right? Like this dude is sweating harder than any person I've ever seen. Right? What is the temperature in this building like? 200 degrees? Like, does this building double as a sauna? Like, what's happening, right? And it's like, then I saw the amount of like jittery. You want to like, people are saying it's Coke, but it's honestly like too much coffee and like, Adderall, right? It's not even cool, right? But it's like, this is the thing, right? Is that and it's like, it's sad too, right? Because he's trying to ape like his dad's energy, right? because he just wants, dad to pat him on the head and say he's a good boy, and it'll never happen. And he's like the greatest failure that's ever lived. And but so he comes out and he starts doing the thing with his fingers, right?
Yeah.
Immediately, right? And right away it's like, yeah, and right away it's like, oh, this does not look right when you do it. Like, you need to quit it. You need to slow down. What the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Like, he just came out and was like, all right, we're gonna listen. America is like, it's like, and it was just like, I can't even. I don't even want to know what is at the end of this, right? Like, because it's just like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly just like, whatever successful business people like talking about how great the American dream is and how they can easily become, rich just like them. But like, it has to be with Trump as president because, if Biden becomes president, then the American dream will be crushed and the hopes and dreams are destroyed and America will be destroyed. And also mostly the kind of the gist of the whole thing really was like, look at all of this destruction all around us, like look at all the deaths all around us, and look at all of this, and this is all terrible and this would never happen if Trump was president.
Yeah.
And that's why we need to elect Trump, because this is what Biden's America is going to look like. That's basically
it's like of the
RNC,
which is a hell of a linguistic pretzel to fold, right?
Oh, yeah.
That is a hell of a thing. Like for it to be like, you know how everything sucks, and even people that have it good are depressed and demoralized by everything. Well, guess what? That is because of a guy who can barely read, who fucking lost all of his brain matter over the last 4 years, who's literally been doing nothing. It's what's going to happen when he's the president. So instead of that, you should vote for the outsider, the outsider, the maverick, the businessman's businessman, the star of the show, the president, the current sitting president, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like, it's
speaking of him, he gave the final speech, of course, the very tail end of it. And it was, pretty late at night, and honestly, I fell asleep at the end of it. It was pretty boring. It was like one of the most boring Trump speeches I've heard. And I don't sit there and watch speeches from him very often, but I mean, compared to like the 4th of July one, which was like, I would describe as fiery fascism, this one was more like
hellfire and brimstone.
This one was more like appealing to a broader base. Trump admitted, I think on Fox News beforehand, he usually says the quiet part loud at some point. And he's like, we're trying to
interviews.
Yeah, like we're trying to appeal to suburban women.
That's it. Literally, both parties are playing a tug of war with fucking like 10 fucking Karens from the suburbs.
But the thing I texted you about, like, why the fuck is he so fucking orange? Like, it's almost like he's gotten more and more orange. And the funny thing is, I was listening to, or I was watching like the David Pakman stream.
Yeah.
Of the whole thing. So right before Trump went on, or, maybe earlier on, I can't remember, they were like, one of the chat people asked him, like, David, what do you think, what color orange do you think Trump is going to end up being tonight? And they're like, look at the orange color spectrum or whatever. So he's like looking at the orange color spectrum, and he like starts scrolling through, and then it's like, he kind of like lands on atomic orange. And And he's like,
That's
I think
the perfect
atomic
one.
orange. He's like, this is pointless to talk about. I think it's going to be atomic orange. And then, like, no shit, dude. The guy fucking, stumbles out on stage and he is atomic orange. Like, it's like this glistening orange color. And I was just like, pretty drunk at the time, at that moment. That's the only reason I was watching it, really. But I was just like, it was like blinding me, It's like, why? It's like not a human color at all. Oh, and another thing I forgot to mention, the only thing that was not completely boring about the Trump's grand finale speech was that there was it's almost more of the spectacle of it, the visual of it,
Right.
is that it was on the White House lawn. You see you're right on the front lawn, right, of the White House. White House is in the background. On either side of the White House, though, there are these giant digital screens that say Trump Pence 2020. And in the middle of it all, and so it looks like a, Christian rock concert or something.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of it all, you have, I don't know, maybe a few hundred people, 500,000 people. I don't know how many people it was, but they were all not social distancing.
Yep.
Camera zoomed in on them. You would usually see maybe one mask per 10 to 12
we got to
people.
mark the day to see how many of them die. Right.
Well, yeah, I think it's something like September 12th or something like that. So we'll see.
Well, because
spike of cases in BC I don't know, but half these people are probably not from BC.
Oh, so. No, most of them aren't.
Well, yeah, I don't know. At one point, it just appeared that they were all yelling 4 more years into each other's mouths, which I thought was exciting.
I thought you were being hyperbolic. They were actually turned towards each other yelling 4 more years?
Well, yeah, kind of like zoomed in on, they were like kind of like turning towards each other and smile. Like they weren't like obviously trying to spit in each other's mouths, but it was like.
But it was close enough?
There was no concept of like, I am spitting particles into your face right now. It was just like, no, we're loving the president right now. That was all they were thinking about. You know what I mean?
God, what a bunch of fucking horrible losers those people are. Because there was 1 or 2 more like, whoo, there was 1 or 2 more where I was like, oh, really? Oh, we're going to talk to you now. Oh, okay.
There was one lady, I had no idea who she was, but she like apparently has black kids as well as white kids or whatever. And she went on this whole rant about how she thinks the police should racially profile her black kids.
Holy shit.
I don't know who the hell she was.
Some straight up sewer ghoul shit.
Yeah.
Some monstrous fucking, Munchausen syndrome, fucking kill your babies shit.
It was like pretty jaw-dropping to watch.
Crisis, enough divisiveness, 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 crisis.
So,
divisiveness,
a child gets his mom to drive him to where the fire is at with an AK. He murders 2 people and wounds a third. And fucking, evangelicals are putting together GoFundMe's for this fucker. Like, it's like, even...
Oh, and the cops were, like, giving him water and, like...
patting him on the back, and he had just killed people and put his hands up, and they just drove right past his ass. Like, it's like, dude, like... I feel like even in the, barring slavery, actual chattel slavery, right? Racists in this country haven't been so fucking just obvious about it, right? Like, it's even back in the day, it was like, it's like people in the whatever live in the country, they've never seen a black person in like real life before or whatever, and they're like, I don't know, what if the darkness rubs off on my, what if they get near me, right? It's like, it's just stupid, you know what I mean? It's like stupid shit, right? But this is like, you are acknowledging that you live in the 21st century, and you like are, it's like we all have access to the same video footage and fucking, whatever, right? Like, all the same info, we all have access to the same information, right? And it's like, like, you would just choose to fucking, like, be like, well, that nice white kid who killed people as a minor in a state he didn't live in, right? Like, if his mom doesn't catch charges over this, that will mean that, like, all this bullshit talk, right, about how, like, I don't know, we need to stop the fascists, like we got to just bite the bullet, and the neoliberals have to. It's like, dude, at this point, at this point, Biden is nowhere. He's doing nothing. He's not saying anything to anybody for weeks, right? He's literally not alive, right? As far as we know, right? Whatever. I think he just went outside today for like the first time, but it's like,
and I've seen him, like, I'll randomly, have CNN on the background just because whatever.
What does he?
Flipping through the cable or whatever, and I'll see that he's interviewing, doing like a, minute and a half interview with Anderson Cooper or whatever, like, kind of doing quick responses to the RNC and stuff. I mean, he's definitely doing like little quick appearances and
doing
stuff.
President shit in a time where the president is a big, fat, wet, narcissistic fascist.
law enforcement officers that have been killed during this have been killed by right-wing, nut jobs or
dudes
whatever.
indiscriminately running down people with their cars and shit. But like,
just like actually there was like a guy or maybe two guys that were in part of some militia group or whatever. They killed like some sheriff or something, and then it gets lumped into the category of, oh, this is the people who have died because of all the Black Lives Matter protests or whatever. But it's like, in reality, a lot of these deaths had to do, like, a lot of these people who died were protesters. You know what I mean? And a lot of people who killed other people were, part of these right-wing groups. So it's like, it's just, it's easy to just, paint with these broad strokes and be like, see, the leftists are causing all of this violence or whatever.
Well, yeah, no, because
they're reacting to violence.
Right. I'm staking the claim right now. It really doesn't matter what happens, because whatever happens, there's going to be violence now. There's going to be a huge surge in violence either way, right? Because if Trump wins, then it will be shady, and it will be another electoral college thing, and it'll come out that he lost by 10 million votes this time because, like, fucking, he didn't count any of the mail ballots, right? Or whatever. It's whatever the fuck happens, right?
Yeah.
But and that will cause violence. Or Joe Biden wins and all these fucking morons go out into the street and start, beating up every colored they can find, right? Like, it's like either way, it's going to descend into chaos. And so my thing is now, I'm like, yo, dude, I'm not even trying to go. I'm not even trying to be a part of none of this shit. It's like, shit has never been realer, and I have never been more like just staring at the TV with my mouth hanging open and like wrapping the blankets around me and being like, well, I guess that's not going outside today, I guess.